Hey guys, Jeff here. I know it's been a long time since my True Grit review, and I've put nothing up since, but I've been busy as usual with work and blah 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 blah. And I'm in the middle of moving. Soon you're gonna see a different background behind me. Um, I have been watching a lot of movies, and I mean, there's lots of catching up I could do on this YouTube channel. But I mean, basically, I did start Movie Dudes, which if you guys want to listen to it, it's a podcast I started with my buddy Chris about movies, and we basically review a couple recent DVD movies and one theatrical release twice a month on vagary.tv/movie dudes. Um, the one I'm going to talk about right now, we're actually going to be reviewing in the next episode, so this is your little preview of my thoughts on it. Um, I watched this movie tonight called Lebanon, which takes place during some war between Israel and Lebanon or something, I guess, in 1982. I don't really know the context or understand it, and you don't really need to because the movie doesn't have anything at all to say about the war or anything like that. It could have been any war. It could have been Afghanistan or something. It wasn't specific in that sense. Um, the whole gimmick or trick of the movie or whatever, I think the selling point is it all takes place inside of a tank. And so you're seeing everything from inside this tank except for like the opening shot and the last shot of the film. And it's basically, what is it? One, two, three, four guys in this little tank unit. They're trying to get, through a couple towns up to some village or something to take it out, or who knows. And it's actually very well done for the most part. Like, I thought it was a pretty brutal, intense little war movie. Um, these guys are under like tremendous stress, and they're in this little box, and it's hot and it's dirty, it's nasty, it's putrid in this thing. It's more putrid in this tank than it is in the coffin and buried. I mean, it's just nasty in this thing. There's cigarette butts all over the floor. There's an ammo box full of fucking piss that they piss in. Uh, you know, Sometimes they have dead bodies in the tank that they have to, drive around with. And there's a lot of very just, very just brutal images of war that you see, and you're all seeing it through the scope that the shooter's looking through, right? So a lot of the big action in the movie is seen through these crosshairs, which was interesting. And the stuff you get to see, I mean, it's pretty it's pretty. How else can I put it? It's brutal, and just kind of heartbreaking and tragic, and it feels like real warfare. Like you see people bleeding out and blood spurting out. You see like this lady get her clothes ripped off because her clothes are on fire. She's walking around naked. I mean, it's intense stuff. And the situations that they get to into are, the movie had me going. I liked it, right? Like they get in this one, part like right at the beginning. They're like, "Oh, shoot on these people or whatever," and the guy can't fire. He fucking pusses out and ends up getting one of their soldiers killed. And then another part, they're telling him to fire, and he's looking through his scope, and he sees a guy holding a woman hostage, putting a gun to her head. He doesn't want to shoot because he doesn't want to kill the innocent hostage, and then he sees a little girl right behind her that's like 5 years old. He's like, "How am I going to kill this little girl?" So that was just like, the movie was gripping. It had me going throughout, and I liked the tension that builds inside the tank. Like, one guy's going kind of crazy, the other guy is pussing out. He's not made out to be the gunner. The problems with the tank. You have the crazy commander outside of the tank with the paratroopers who just like comes in and makes their life hell. So it's a good movie, right? Blah blah blah. And then this is a problem that seems to be happening with a lot of indie movies, which is that it's a lot of great build up, but where are we going? We're going nowhere. And that's exactly the problem with Lebanon. I mean, I enjoyed it pretty immensely throughout. I'm like, this is great, man. What a little gem I've found here, right? But then you find out that it's been building to nowhere. The movie's going nowhere. A lot of these indie movies have this problem, and I'm sick of it. I'm not going to give the indie movies a pass anymore for being well made or being different. Because if you're well made, then you have a story to tell. And what's the story here? There is no story. There's no ending to the movie. And honestly, there's no real character development. You get to know them marginally, a little bit. You understand that one guy's afraid of killing people. He probably shouldn't be the gunner. I mean, the only character development you see, like scene that you see in this movie, is where this guy talks about when he was in 11th grade and his dad died, and he got sent home from school, and his teacher drove him home, and he had a hard on for his teacher. And he talks about like how she took him in the bedroom, and she's like hugging him, and he like had a hard on. He's like basically humping her, and he came. That was the only thing where they're not discussing the situation at hand and where you get to learn something about the characters. Other than that, there's nothing. The movie's a whole bunch of nothing. Some good action and good war scenes and well made war stuff, very well made and interesting and a kind of perspective like that I haven't seen before. I haven't seen a war movie about a tank where it's just about a tank, and I like that. But guess what? Before you sit down to make the movie, you should decide where is this going and where does it end? Because it doesn't end. It goes nowhere. Uh, I hate to I hate to say that because I generally enjoyed it all the way through, and then I got to the end. I'm like, I can't recommend this to people, unfortunately. Um, where's the story in this? There's no story. They shoot a bunch of shit. Some other shit happens. And another problem is like the whole last half hour. There's some really exciting like action and stuff at the climax. But even then, I was kind of confused as to what's going on because they don't explain it well. It's like they get lost and where's their commander? Like what's going on? And maybe they're trying to recreate the confusion of these soldiers, but at some point, as the audience, you kind of want to know what happened because you've been watching them for over an hour. You want to know what's going to happen, and then it just comes to this humdrum blah ending. And I'm sorry, I think it really hurt this movie. Unfortunately, I'm not giving indie movies a pass anymore. Where they're like, oh, we get to be creative and cool, and have like this little artsy fartsy ending that doesn't mean fucking dick. I'm sorry. Um, if someone thought there was like something more going on there, I'd love to know because I don't think there was anything more going on in the ending. Like, I'm not gonna spoil anything, but literally one of the final scenes is somebody taking a piss. That actually is pretty much the final scene is someone taking a piss. And it has no consequence to the plot. It's someone taking a piss. So, I mean, we're we're seeing. I don't know. Like I said, I can't recommend it to people, but there's a lot of stuff done in the first hour that is really well done and very cool. So I don't know where even to rate this. I want to give it like 3 out of 5 stars because it was closer to being maybe like 4 out of 5 stars. But the whole last like 20 minutes just kind of dragged it down big time, and the ending is like a dead weight on the movie. So, God, unfortunately, I don't know if this is gonna fly on movie dudes because I think Chris is pretty strict about not having half stars, but I'm gonna have to go 2.5 out of 5 stars. Really regrettably because they had a good movie. They just had to figure out where it's going, and they had to figure out an ending that was better than what we got. Really, just talk about a movie being killed by a piece of shit. So what ending? That's what you have with Lebanon. and it's unfortunate because otherwise it was a pretty unique war movie that took place in a tank. Anyways, thanks for watching. You'll be seeing a lot more of me soon.